but the aim is like we need to, I guess we have to talk about this web portal that Junichi-san is developing, and how to help make it work. I mean, populate it to very useful information is there. But I don't know. I just look at it, and then the useful link, as Markus mentioned, we might need to expand it into the different disciplines, just like so easier for people to add in if like more working groups participate, then we can add to that easier, I think, separately. So maybe Junichi, so Markus, this for the website, I'm talking about the useful links that can be expanded to the different disciplines like you mentioned. So it's kind of easier for each working group when they send in more people to participate, like medical, can do it, or even the, I don't know, the people from UNESCO, like I can do it in differently. So is that, you think, is that okay to do so?
Of course. I mean, we want contributions.
Yeah, that's the thing. How can we make the contribution easier? I mean, for them to do.
I think we can have many editors here who can review submissions. So we either have people that we trust directly, who would be the people on this call, and a few others. And then everybody else, we either invite to become part of our group, or we say to them, send us your information and we will put it there. The secretariat can add things to the website as well. So if we tell people, look, here are 27 URLs, can you please put them on this page? They'll do that. So yeah, whatever we can do to make it really, really easy, and not so much work for us, because we don't know everything. We talk like we do, but we don't.
No. Right.
We now include an AI contact email. So maybe we need to discuss that, whether an AI wants to receive all requests for new content, or whether it's your email, Chai, because you're the chair of the booking group.
Yeah, I think maybe we need to have a process. I mean, let's start small and see how it goes and how big the problem gets. I mean, I would like to have the problem that Chai gets too many emails with information. But let's see if that happens. But I mean, alternatively, I don't know, Junichi-san, I haven't used WordPress enough yet. I think there's a way of people to add content and it's moderated. So it's like approved. I think there's a module in WordPress that's a little bit like a blog or a commenting page or something like that can be very open. And then we just harvest from that. That could be one approach we can take.
I think, yeah, harvesting system is not fit to
I mean human harvesting. I mean human people reading it and copying it.
Yeah,
not harvesting in a technical OAI, PMH kind of way.
Okay. We can share the authority to get access to such kind of server. How can we make more more hot or enthusiastic service? Well,
at the beginning, yes, it will, or close to next APAN, it will. But
it will be,
as usual. But we like to launch it in mid-October, So we need to add
Sooner.
something before that. Yeah. So yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
And I think in WordPress, other people could only add comments and they could be moderated, but I don't know whether we want to go the comments route, because I still would need to move the content from comments
Okay.
to
To
the main
add,
section.
yeah, to add in, Junichi-san can do that. APAN-SEC can do that, but is that too much work for them, for you know, to add to, like, you know?
Well, let's see. But let's see if it is a problem. I mean, at the moment, we've invited all the working group chairs, we've invited all the members, and at this stage, we've had effectively one response.
Right.
You know, and between us, we will probably generate far more content than our community will. So we can just try it out. And then once the community starts to pick up and contribute things, then we can try and automate or simplify the process.
Okay.
But for now, we could just say email the working group or email the SEC or something like that. And if a SEC has a question, they can ask us.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So at least for agriculture working group and disaster, I can do that. I can, you know, talk with them and then try to do that. Disaster for sure, because college are gonna have to do it. But agriculture, when they have it on Thursday, I will also have to share that. So I will ask them. I mean, like, who would like to participate in that?
Yeah, and I can put things in from, you know, policy and culture perspectives and some of the history of changing culture and
e-culture.
and Sune's mentioned a few things. Iryna's mentioned many things. I and Shabazz have a lot of things. You know, then we can trust to put things at least somewhere central. We can give them not full. Junichi-san, remind me please. It's not full editor rights, but it's sort of one level down. It's like, you know, page editor or I forget the words. There's different levels of permission. You know, it's like a site administrator and a page administrator and a commenter. So we can work out maybe a staging page or something. I don't know. Okay. But let's see how busy we get.
Yeah, because when you search internet or receive something, you always all the time you get like a free data over there, free data over there, and different topic that you interest. So I see it all the time. Yeah. So you can add to that.
Yeah. I mean, if we sat down and spent the time, we could probably collect all of the information from the planet through Google and other sources. But we don't have the time, and that's why we want to involve other people.
Right.
And we can't value things. That's one thing I found, and certainly here, is the different disciplines have different approaches and different needs, and something that works amazingly in the US does not work in Thailand, and vice versa. So we need a filtering, ranking, valuing approach somehow. You know, and maybe we just need to involve the working groups to help with that, or people like Sune, who, you know, obviously has lots of spare time. She could help with that.
Yeah, I was going to say a little bit about the WordPress. So for NTU Library, we use WordPress for some of our curation of resources. But we are trying to move everything to LibGuide. So may I just check with Markus, do we have a WordPress subscription?
We have a WordPress site hosted on the APAN hosting provider. So we're not hosted by WordPress, the company. We run a WordPress instance ourselves.
Oh, okay. So I'm not the experience I have with my university subscription to the WordPress is that it does allow us to have the different levels of roles. I think they have administrator role, editor role. So yeah, definitely we can assign different roles to different volunteers. Some could be doing more of editorial work. Some could be contributing raw content for the editors to organize and publish. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Mm.
And maybe we can look, I mean, so the WordPress instance is easy, and we can add modules as Junichi-san recommends to do different things. The other thing that I was just thinking about is, in terms of more people, is trying to get students involved. There was a time when we had APAN fellows regularly, and they were very enthusiastic and helpful if you could organize them and harness them. So, you know, when we start having face-to-face meetings and fellows again, we can ask the fellows to get involved with this. We can ask previous fellows, but we haven't had any for 3 years. So
3 years already. Wow.
yeah.
Mm.
49 was the meeting we cancelled 10 days before it was due to start. And now we're coming up to 55.
Very quick, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. Sometimes the last 3 years feels like a week, and other times it feels like a whole decade or two.
Mm. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
I was trying to look for the earlier Google Doc which Iryna had set up, and I think if we could perhaps use that as a basis with the content organization, then as we engage more people, including students, research staff, we could, you know, like get people to perhaps select the areas of content that they are more familiar with, and to submit some useful links and those topics under those topics. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Then we have to list the topics.
We crowdsource the topics. Let the community build the topics. You know, if they've got
Yeah,
something,
that'd be great. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, there are document systems, or I mean, Reddit started out as a URL
Yeah.
sharing tool, right? You know, and you can tag things in that. So you can, here's a great document, hashtag research data management, hashtag agriculture, hashtag government policy, or something like that. And then you can kind of sort things from there.
Okay.
Yeah, if we can use such crowdsourcing modules in WordPress, that would be fantastic. Yeah.
And if WordPress doesn't do it, maybe we use Google Doc, or what's the tool Iryna's using? RiseUp.
Well, I'm only using it because of China to avoid complications with Google Docs.
Very good point. Thank you. Yes.
Yes. So which one are we going to use then?
Let's try and do it in WordPress and email, I think, to start with.
Okay.
Yeah. We know China can access the APAN domain email address most of the time, and the apan.net website or domain broader. I don't know, Sune, about the Google Doc, because Iryna's point is that, for example, China has trouble getting access to some Google services, depending on which way the wind's blowing and whatever else. But the Google Doc had some starting structure. We can copy across.
Yeah. The main idea is to copy the content structure over. Yeah. If RiseUp is good to use, we can just copy and paste from the earlier Google Doc to RiseUp, and then get people to contribute there.
I mean, I know nothing about RiseUp, Iryna. Is it does it have like a shared editing structure like Google Docs and permissions?
No, not really. Everyone
like
can write.
Yeah.
So it's a type of SRP.
Yeah. Okay.
So what do you think, Jinichi-san? Which one is
Yeah.
good?
I can harvest from such kind of documents,
What
but
can you?
maybe GitHub also good for feedback to our website, because it's so we can collect structures data from the infrastructure. So I don't know, but we can manage Google Doc or Rise Up. So
Why
I
don't
don't know
we
which
just,
one is best.
yeah, I mean, we don't need to engineer it now.
Mhm.
I mean, if we have the WordPress site
Yeah,
and down the bottom it says, if you want to add something, you either need permission from Chai
yeah.
or email it to the sec.
Mhm.
You know,
It-
or they're the
it's-
two options
Yeah.
to start with.
If such kind of the program project, we need some ticket making system. Is it? If some requests have solved, we can finish the ticket. So I don't know which streaming is best.
I've asked
I don't know.
some people to do the to get a ticket system for the APAN Secretariat.
What is it?
So if we have that, then they can just filter it into the ticket system.
I think that okay, but we need to discuss in our team more because right now not only me making the APAN data service. Some people are joining to our team, so we can share and discuss in the NII. I want to introduce a new person from NII. There is Tomoki Nagase. Tomoki also sharing our project of this APAN data website system. So please introduce Tomoki.
Yes, thank you for
Welcome.
thank you for introducing me, Onami-san. I'm a little embarrassed by the short introduction. So, my name is Tomoki Nagase. Actually, I have joined the NII this April. So I just started this working this field. So I don't know much about the area, but I am learning a lot about this field. So I am working with Onami-san. So I'm the first time to join it, of course. But I'm very glad to join this working group. So I'm very looking forward to working for you, everyone.
Not working for us, working with us.
Working, yeah. Thank you. Thank you for it. Yes, as you know, the Onami-san is a very busy person, so I'm enjoy some of his role partially. So that's yes. Please help us to just okay. Thank you.
Yeah,
Well,
Thank
To
you.
meet you.
Nice to meet you.
welcome. Nice to meet you.
Mhm.
Welcome to the show.
So now Japanese NII become a three-person, Kazu-san and me and Tomoki-san. So I think we can share the this kind of task and in it, and we can be more get good speed. So I'll update this working. So anyway, we can decide such kind of collecting, harvesting the request of users or such kind of questions. So we can select it. So we want to get back this question to NII, and we will decide, and we want to answer in mailing list. Is it okay?
Of course.
Yeah, of
Chai-san,
course.
Makusa-san, thank you. And I think Kazu-san will come later. I think he will come more 5 minutes or so.
That's okay.
I think he preparing something. So later he will talk something. Is it okay?
Yeah, we can, you know.
Okay.
What can we say? No, make him come now.
What can we do?
Okay,
What can we
call
do?
him.
We can do nothing. So when he come, he come. Yeah.
I mean, the other thing too, Anami-san, is
Yes.
you don't have to do everything. NII does not have to do everything.
Thank you.
The APAN community is there, APAN second, I'm here as well.
Yes.
So we can work on these things together.
We have
We just
to
wanna-
do like that. Yes.
Yeah.
And don't even worry about adding new content as soon as you give permissions to Suni and me. We know how to use WordPress, so we'll be adding new content and we'll be adding descriptions to existing content. So it shouldn't be on your shoulders. We will be last times. It's your sentences up, and
thank you so much.
Yeah, at least we have to show in our working group that we working together, not just NII. If we could work together, then we asking other people to come and help. Like,
it's in the name. We are a working group.
Yeah.
Working individuals, right?
Yeah.
So I think if we can just get some, I mean, let's review the site where we're up to.
Right.
And work out what we still need to do to make it visible.
Right. Maybe could we just Junichi-san, you share the website, and then we just go a bit into that and see a little bit all again, so we know we are on the same page, and we might change something or whatever later. But
shall I connect now?
Yeah.
Okay, wait for a while. Well,
in the meantime, Doris is here. So what would you like to say before? There?
I think it's so now.
Okay.
Here it comes, and yes, it's not rich. I'm sorry, and we shared a list of the contents, but at first we need the search system of each resource on the this WordPress. So we're constructing the search system on it, and I think we can get soon. And after that, we also need the tagging or filtering by some language information or some category information. We need to good filter to search these resources. So anyway, at first we just put it some resources from the Google document resource list. I think Suni-san or Iryna-san made some resources on it, so we just put it, and if we get access to these resources, we can directly yes, go to these resources pages. But yes, this language is not English, and if national user want to find each country's resources, they need to filter each languages. So yes, this is first step to update this APAN site. So anyway, everyone, do you have any comment about this structure? I think many people wants to say many things about this.
Was also
I think-
thinking about adding some descriptions. Apologies. So maybe we don't have filtering system yet. We will only have it in October. But what we can do, we can briefly describe each of the resources, say in language Arabic, openly available to everyone, for example, and a short sentence describing what it is.
I mean, at the moment, the APAN community uses English as a shared language. So I think that's a good starting point. I think the translation and filtering by language can come later, but we can filter by nationality at least. So we don't have to over-design that yet. I'm wondering whether there's a you can get document management systems plugins for WordPress. I'm just wondering if one of those has that kind of functionality where you can upload a document or a reference and then tag it, and then that gives you the findability, the search feature. Need to do some research there.
Yeah.
I mean, I like the visuals. You know, it's like there's lots out there, and there'll be plenty more. So maybe we should at least make sure that it's all not just about Japan. That should be one of our priorities. And that's not Junichi's problem. That's Chai, me, others. Oh, Sheffield is there? Okay.
Yeah, there are many already listed in the
Good.
Google Doc at the beginning. Yes, like from the US, from Europe already there.
Yep.
But yeah. So for the would you click on the resources, Shinichi?
Sure.
See
Yeah.
That's category head.
the link. No.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
This is just I usually go to this site to do the training regarding
basically,
Earth
yeah.
science.
Or
And now here the useful link things that
yes.
before that we talk about the different disciplines that should we expand on that in different working group, or just put it like this, or different discipline.
We will probably at some stage need to classify the resource.
Yeah, because it's going to be many. When you
Yeah.
add, it's going to be a lot more than this, and it's going to get confused.
Can you just hover on resources again? So we've got, sorry, on the menu. Yep, can you just make the menu fall down?
Excuse me.
Resources. Yep, that one.
Like this.
Yeah. So we've got events, which are specific. We've got training, which is specific. Best practice. We might need to broaden a bit or make more specific under some headings, like there's best practice government policy, best practice metadata guides, things like that. And then I think useful links and tools, all of it are useful links and tools. So as a category, that's probably not as useful. So maybe we need to think about how we classify the resources very broadly, just to start with. And maybe there's like best practice by discipline, best practice by government, funder, something like that. I mean, I think, Iryna, you had some nice categories in your slides that reference some of this. Have you sent your slides to the APAN sec, Iryna?
Yes,
Okay,
I
cool.
will.
And we can look at them later. So maybe we need to collect lots of things and then see how they classify best. That'll help with the tagging.
Yeah. Like the one in, like, for example, in disaster working group, we done it a bit. I done it a bit for the disaster already, because that has been talking for a few years already that we should have that. So people, when have a, I don't know, the hurricane coming or typhoon, where do you look, something like that, or forest fire or flooding. So you need specific or the wave, the simulation of the wave. If the hurricane coming, you can go and look at this, and you see that how high is the wave for the storm surge, something like that.
But that's so that there's sort of two kinds of searches, right? There's a very narrow, almost a discipline silo, and then there's a very horizontal search, which is about categories of information sources. So some people may want to search this way, some people may want to search that way, and that's where tags are kind of useful. But oh look, it becomes a problem when we have hundreds. At the moment we have 10. So let's do it manually and see how we go.
Okay.
In Australia, the Research Data Australia platform is a very small technology platform and a very large metadata specification, just to allow people to describe and search and filter and so on. And the code has hardly changed over the years, and the metadata specification has changed a lot. So it's the management of things. And like, there we've got the page of the Open University Research Data Management. That's a very broad topic. It'd be nice if we could break it down into their own categories that might be for researchers, for infrastructure providers, for the executive, or policies and work, something like that, so that people don't have to read the entire website.
Right. Even like for network perspective, when they're showing the testing site, how fast is it now? Peer-to-peer testing, they also have the link, but it's not really in the public. Like, you want to see that how fast now from Thailand to Japan, you can see it, but nobody really know unless you're in the working group. So you can put it there, you can put like now it's working or not. If something happened, one time the submarine, the US submarine, tripped the cable in Singapore. That's why it just like disappear. So what happened? Then you check. When you check, the submarine just went through this cable and it's gone between the link from Singapore to Japan. Oh, okay.
I've got to drill right down to find that.
But you need to know specific site to look at that. But they can. I mean, the network engineering can provide those kind of links and information in here as well, which is
Well, just looking at the screen now, we've got 4 websites that talk about research data management. And I suspect they're to different audiences, because OCLC is different to the University of Sheffield, and Open University is closer. What's that other one? Maastricht University. Yeah, so there's some nice stuff about the principles and then local support.
Yes, these
go by the
links
principle would be better.
Yes.
Pretoria too, I missed that.
And best. Yes.
Okay. We can also add the local, like if they have a website like in Thai.
Yeah, I hope so.
Also add like in Japan, Japanese.
Thai or Japan or other, Asian, local RDM or sharing data practice would be fits to these useful links. So we want to collect such kind of information.
When I just did a Google on research data management, the precise string research data management, there's there are 4.3 million hits.
Wow.
So yeah, we need to think about how we filter, prioritize, value something. I'm not sure.
Yeah, gonna be too, yeah.
I mean, the first couple of pages I just looked at, there's some really good things. And I see mostly Australian pages, probably because I'm searching from Australia. So it'd be interesting how it looks if you try that in Thailand or Japan.
Mm. Mhm. Mhm. Yeah.
I'm wondering whether we would like to focus on the regional resources first. Then that could perhaps value add to what we can find in Google.
Yep.
So if we have the APAN representatives to contribute the whether it's training materials or curated resources for their regions, I think if we can highlight them, that could make this curation of resources more meaningful.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think one thing I just looking at, for example, with the when I search the Australian, well, I search Google and I get a lot of Australian results. The first 20 or 30 are universities, each with their own frameworks and guidelines. And probably what would be useful would be I could curate a page just to say Australian University Research Data Management entry points or something like that. To make it easy for people to find. So we need somebody local to do that curation. And then we need, the other one is the discipline one, but I'm also seeing a few useful government pages, like our funding body comes up, in fact, almost #1 in the search results. Let me just share that in the chat, you can have a look at. And that talks about a whole bunch of really useful resources. For example, one thing we have is, let me put that in before I mispronounce it and confuse people. We actually have a national code for the responsible conduct of research. And that basically, has a whole bunch of directions and guidelines that talks to researchers and to institutions about, for example, how they should manage research data. And the ARC, the Research Council, was involved in actually, so the link, Junichi-san, is the one just at the bottom of the screen now, just underneath the icon, you can see Australian code. No, further up. So you've now got it, you'll see it's highlighted in blue there. Australian code. Yep, the second one there, the code.
This one.
Yeah, that one. Yep.
Yeah.
So that's quite a useful document, and a lot of universities basically have to follow that now. Sadly, that one's not as good as, that's the second edition. The first edition was actually better, but it doesn't matter. But that tells universities what to do. It tells researchers what to do. And it's broken into various categories, and data management is one of those things. And you can, learn an immense amount what's now required of a researcher if you're in Australia. And in fact, it even goes beyond universities as well.
Like what Jennifer said, that in the US now they do this as well, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The funding body sets the rules, and this one in particular was written by a combination of the funding bodies, the university vice chancellors community. So it has buy-in from both sides, the funding bodies and the universities. So the funding bodies might make really tough rules, and the universities say, we can't afford that. You're going to have to give us more money for every research project. And in fact, that's the first argument we had 10, 15 years ago, was the Research Council saying, okay, we want to ask every researcher to do 10% more work to do good data management rather than doing what they currently do. Do we give them more money, or do we just expect them to do it for free? Researchers don't do anything for free. If it's more work, they're not going to do it unless it's included in their grant. And that's why the universities are now involved in making it cheaper and easier for them. And that's what this guide, for example, talks about. So the funding body had to convince the vice chancellors to fund institutional repositories and data management support and skills, especially skills. Anyway, so I'm just drilling in on a particular idea here that.
Thanks for your recommendation. Yeah, very great. It can be
also wondering about, sorry, please carry on.
Oh, no problem. Iryna-san. It's okay.
So I was also wondering about the title, shall we say Open Science in Asia Pacific? Because now we only have Asia.
Right.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Right. Good point. But now we have other. Should we include all at the beginning, or separate only Asia Pacific? Because now most of the resources listed in the website now, not in Asia Pacific.
So maybe we have a rule that Asian resources get bumped up to the top. There's useful things that come out of the UK, the US, and occasionally people will argue whether Australia and New Zealand are part of Asia and the Pacific. We get called Oceania or something.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. It's weird. Like, we're a big chunk of the Pacific, so
yeah.
I'm not sure what the argument is, but occasionally you'll see the term Australasia, and that basically means Australia and New Zealand. It's another one of these weird terms that we use, but no, I think Iryna's good point. That front page on the APAN site should say Asia and Pacific.
Yeah.
Asia Pacific. Yeah.
Agree.
Kazu-san, welcome.
Sorry. Again, from the emergency call from the Director General. I'm sorry about it.
He's a bigger boss than we are. That's okay.
Yeah, much bigger.
He pays you.
Yeah.
Juji-san, would you go back to the first page of the website?
Hey.
Data, yeah.
Yes.
So in Asia Pacific, or for Asia Pacific, maybe in Asia Pacific is good enough. And categorize the data,
Right, in Asia Pacific.
Asia Pacific.
Yeah.
Okay.
But we have the rules to bump any process within Asia Pacific, but we not exclude the global one. I mean, like from the Europe or from the US. There's plenty of them as well.
And the things on the Sunni and the Marx was the talk about was that so we need to have some local page to edit or the customize or the curate by each. So the current structure is not suitable for that, I guess. So we have to modify the the structure of the page or the things to be able to do it more easily.
I mean, you list by country?
No, and that the Markus said, for instance, within this page, maybe he can curate the information, the local information in Australia. So in a web page, by himself, it's a good, the functionality for each of us. Otherwise, the Junichi has to all of the things on behalf of them. So maybe it's better to provide the privilege to edit the local page in this, on the website.
Yeah. Kazu-san, we talked about the workflow for people to contribute when we crowdsource more information. But yes, I think structurally, for those of us who are in the working group who are trusted, the ability to have some level of editor rights. And if I was doing a page, it could be something like data.apan.net/universities Australia or something like that. And I can put all the Australian university research data management plans in that. And then we just have a reference on the front under resources and this was one of the things we also talked about is in that resources menu, I think we need more finer grained categories just to make it a bit easier to find things. Because everything is a useful link. So we need to have a useful link for institutions, for research discipline, whatever, for government. Whereas events and training, those are great topics to have, and best practice too. And who defines best practice?
You, us.
Yeah.
And then as every APAN meeting, so we can give some best practice award to the the communities. For instance,
good idea.
Yes.
Well, yes.
The best practice.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
So the Junichi, so in order to allow the local editing, so we have to get the the every night backup for emergency, the restore the data in the occasion. Somebody.
Yes. Based
WordPress
on
does that.
WordPress. Yes, WordPress has such kind of functionality.
Okay.
So yeah, we can keep.
All right, that's great.
Yes, and I also introduced Tomoki Nagase in these teams. He also collaborates and he can also make efforts to make good service for everyone's. So.
And we can also make the pages that individuals edit to contribute behind a password protection. And then, Chai and Junichi-san and you and others can approve it to be visible. So it's moderated editing.
Which is better, Junichi? So to have such a kind of, the moderator functionality or trust that each individual contribute. So it's up to your, the workload. And also the frequency, how much frequently they try to update the data. And so depending on that.
I want to rethink about that kind of process to updating or control quality. So yeah, I'm thinking about it, but I couldn't decide it now.
Kazu-san, we also talked earlier about that this is a group effort. So the APAN Secretariat can also be involved. I can be involved.
Yeah.
Oh, really? That's good. That's good.
This is not an NII project on its own. NII is contributing wonderful resources, but does not have to do all of the work.
That's good news.
Thank you.
So please don't
help each other.
Basically, if we can just work out the permission model and the workflow for getting content in, then it'll be the group that takes decisions, and it'll be individuals we trust to manage the content. And we just need Junichi-san, Tomoki-san, and you to just help us with the platform from time to time, to maybe change a structure or something, because you'll have administrator rights over the whole site. But most people here will just want a page or 3 pages or something to contribute to. So yeah.
So we're gonna set up. This is one of the homework to do until the next APAN meeting.
No, before.
Of course, you know, before.
No,
Yeah.
the launch date is we already decided the 15th October.
No. September. Come on.
Oh, September. Right.
Because we want to include this in the UNESCO toolkit, and UNESCO toolkit is being built.
All right,
The sooner we go live, the better.
great.
When do you go live, Iryna? Was it?
No, I was just saying the sooner we go live, the better.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
September would be wonderful.
I mean, we can just put the word draft across the top in big letters and make it public now. You know, it's just as long as we're reasonably happy.
We could say introduce this in the on Friday General Assembly, or maybe tomorrow, but I don't know.
Well, you're talking at the General Assembly on Friday. You can mention it there.
Yeah, can show them that they can access this and perhaps give comments or something.
They can view it and access and give feedback. They can't access unless they have permission, of course.
Right. They can, you know, if they would like to look at this, they request the access.
Can you, I mean, maybe get some screenshots, or you've got, I think, Junichi-san, did you share the login for this page?
Login page?
This page here, did you share a login for people to, because at the moment it's behind password. Yeah, I thought you did.
Oh, yes.
It did.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or so we can remove the digest authentication before the Friday. Is it impossible, Junichi, to remove the authentication
I can.
and
Excuse
make
me,
it
until when?
Friday before that the closing remark or General Assembly has already been finished? I'm sorry, I'm not good at APAN.
So Friday afternoon, the
Friday
plenary.
afternoon.
Yep.
Friday afternoon.
Lunchtime is the plenary, and that's Beijing time, of course. I forget exactly. Is it? I'll have to get the agenda later.
So the Junichi, one of the idea is to remove the digest authentication before the General Assembly on Friday.
Okay. I'll
and
check
make it
today.
in public.
I can do that, I think. Yeah. Sorry,
that's much more easier,
today.
you know.
Yeah, it's not hard, but I need to check something.
Okay.
I think I can. I think I can.
So otherwise, maybe the Chai he will provide the screenshot, and then you can copy and paste in your slide.
Yeah, I can use Junichi's slide.
Okay, like
he already showed.
Sorry about it.
No, but if you could do that, it's much easier for them. Maybe
yeah.
We
and
say
have
like
a big
for
impact.
a month or something, you know, like within the end of next month, you can access, and then we'll put the notification back.
Yeah, at least.
So, something like that. Maybe, I don't know, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 2 weeks.
Or just put it for lower pages, so at least the very top is still visible. And that way also Google will find it. And we can start to, you know, people will start to discover it. So maybe, you know, somewhere on the front here, we also say, we want feedback. Actually, I think I might say that at the bottom of the page, but maybe we put it at the top. So we want feedback, email the Open Data Working Group. Or, yeah, that should be an open mailing list.
Yeah. Go to the mailing list. You know?
Yeah, great.
Yep. And that way we start getting feedback. I mean, we know what we want, but other people may have really good ideas too.
Maybe that's why they just like you know, we send out the email. I sent out 2 times. I don't remember. Markus also sent out. We only got one reply from from medical working groups.
Don't worry about it.
It's not real, and it's not a priority for them yet. And it's, you know, it's not concrete, so it needs something specific for them to react to. I've written many papers for our governments and for institutions where I've said, here are some crazy ideas about what I think you should be doing. And it is a much better approach to get responses that way, because they go, you're an idiot, you should do this and you should do this. And it's like, great feedback.
Yeah.
But if you say, hey, give me some ideas about data. Oh, wow, that's an interesting comment there. Sorry. Suni just found a comment about the Department of Defense. APAN has nothing
That's a
to do with
sentence
it.
that Junichi-san will correct.
Yeah.
OD. Okay. Oh.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
APAN, nothing to do with the US or Defense Department.
Why it's
Oh,
in
is it some? Oh,
Yes.
Yeah, it's in there, right? Enterprise.
excuse me, sir.
Yeah, better correct this first.
yeah.
Updates.
Yeah, but the
Yeah,
last
as-
sentence, yeah, the
as
last
soon as
sentence is
possible.
good. Yep.
I don't know why. We need to change it.
Yeah.
Mm.
Even if
Excuse
it's
me.
a
Okay.
sentence,
Then
you
the-
can replace.
Mm.
Yeah, replace our, the description of our working group.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Where does contact go on the menu at the moment? Junichi-san?
Oh,
The
Contact.
Make-
contact menu in the top right.
Contact.
Yes. Here's a contact page, and secretary's email address, and also I wrote the NYI, our team's address. Is it okay?
I have no idea, but maybe I will get some the comment from the secretary. So it's better to have much more specific mailing address for this purpose. Otherwise,
Yeah.
add the our working group mailing list.
Yeah, I think maybe put the
Okay.
working group first.
So
I would remove street addresses. Nobody's going to post you a letter, or send you a fax, or make all going to be through email. And you don't need to obfuscate the links, because certainly the sec at apan.net is visible everywhere. The spammers have already found it, and it's much easier for people to respond if they can just click on it with a mail to link. So I think, yeah, if you convert those to real link email addresses, NII might be different. They might have higher security or spam requirements, but or just put email address there.
We are so happy to be invisible from this. Of course, we are free to support this operation, but so this is an APAN page. So maybe it's better to hide NII contribution from this page, and then maybe make it this working group more visible.
I think that's a good point, but I think we should also acknowledge your great help.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that have to. I think we have to.
we can do that in the About page. We can say under About, this is the working group, this is what APAN's doing, this is how NII is supporting this. I think it's important to acknowledge the help that you got.
It is.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you. So
But
I think
maybe I'm thinking about putting the logo as well. NII logo.
No.
About.
Logo is it's not fair. We are the equally contributing to this web page, so we are just providing the infrastructure. That's it. The main workload is to the maintain the data, the information itself. Much more the difficult. So we need to put the logo, NII logo. So
The other
thank you, Chai, for your consideration.
The other part too, based on my experience with other academic organizations and governments, is that the use of the logo requires approval, and that takes many steps of permission.
We are those very small institutions, so maybe we can make a decision by ourselves. Anyway, but anyway, we don't need to put our NII logo on this site.
Okay.
Thank you.
But you need to you cannot remove your NII from here. You need to find somewhere like About, like Markus said.
Put them on About. And Sune's just added some additional links that we could Include
Thank you.
Appreciate.
Event information about Singapore Open Research Conference.
Mm.
Okay. I
Oh,
asked.
yes.
Thank you so much.
Mhm, mhm.
And this is how it begins. People start sending you ideas. So
Mhm.
if we can share the editing,
Yeah. It's better. It's better. Otherwise,
There's going to
Junichi
be a
can't
lot of
sleep.
work, too much thunder on your shoulders.
Mhm,
Yeah.
You have to help each other.
mhm. Thank you.
maybe we need an email address like data@apan.net. So it's not specific, because I'm not sure about the working group mailing lists, whether you have to be on them or not. And it would also make it easier for the secretariat to filter messages.
Mhm.
They could do that.
Yeah,
Maybe it's better.
Yeah.
So we have a several mailing list in as a working group. So
Mhm.
for instance, so we have a member mailing list, right?
Yes.
And in addition to that, we can get more for this kind of service.
we can get as many addresses as we
Okay,
want. We
okay,
run
okay,
our own
thank you.
mail server. Yep.
So maybe it's better to have a specific mailing list
Mhm.
just for us, the editors and the contributors to this site.
I wasn't thinking necessarily about a mailing list. I was thinking about a point of contact address.
Mhm, mhm.
Mhm.
So that anything that gets, so if we ask for contributions, where do they send
Okay.
it?
Mhm,
We send it to data@apan.net.
mhm,
And that's a mailbox then that the secretariat can look at.
mhm.
Mhm. They can create that, yes.
Oh yeah, easy. And
Mhm.
then if they can either add it directly to the website, if they have permission,
Mhm.
or they can ask one of us who has permission to add it to the appropriate page. And that way we have an editorial process that requires very little work. Once we have editing permissions set up the right way.
Mhm.
So the Chai, can I ask you to provide the list of the new mailing list, or we can put it on the site, and then Junichi, depending on that, according to that information, Junichi will modify this the contact page, and then we'll have the direct link to the the mail too. So
Yeah,
as Markus said,
so mean like create another one. I mean the new one for just
new
this.
one.
APAN site have to do that. I cannot do that. Yeah.
So I think Kazu-san was asking if it's okay that we will, you and I can talk about what should be on the contact page.
Okay.
Mhm.
And we will give that to Junichi-san to put on the page there.
Yeah, please do that.
Okay.
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 I will ask the sec to set up that email address.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, sorry. Dries would like to say something. He raised his hand for a long time. Please.
Hi, everyone. Sorry, I was just in and out. And it's good to see that your group is coming together and the website is coming together. I just wanted to mention a couple of things. That last APAN 53, we had quite a successful webinar that covers quite a bit of open science. And one of the speakers was a founder and chair of the Southeast Asia Network for Open Science. And he's also involved, he's a sort of roaming ambassador for the Indonesian Science Repository. So this leads me to think that maybe each one of the NRENs might be able to ask, or anybody that we know that could ask, I certainly could ask the Indonesian one, each of the country members of the current, NRENs that are linked to APAN.net, so that they would be able to sort of identify the National Science Repository, because I think it would be good if you could build on what's already existing. We have here some, certainly from Singapore. I'm sure maybe there would be others who'd be able to suggest neighboring countries' science repositories. And then the other one is point is that yes, tomorrow we're having, sorry, on Thursday. I'll also be organizing a webinar which is on the pandemic preparedness. And one of the topics would be given by Dr. Gareth Price, and it is Open Science for Pandemics by Dr. Stian Moore. So he will be talking more about bioinformatic databases that is part of the ARDC that Markus was talking about before. So that's mainly in Australia, but they have also links with international contacts in UK, US, and so forth. So those are the 2 points that I have, Veerachai, for you.
Thanks a lot. And I think it's a great idea to add all open science related talks from APAN's conference to this page as well.
Right, thank you. Yeah. But I don't know, maybe Suni, would you know if other countries in Southeast Asia has open science, like science repositories? I'm sure they do. Like Veerachai in Thailand, you have a science repository, right?
Yeah, we can actually look them up in the directory of open access data repositories. So we can filter by country. Yeah.
Right, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Yeah, I didn't know that. Okay. Yeah, we do have, yes. But mostly in Thai. That's why we that for the local language need to be added as well. Yeah. Okay. Then we'll try to show this on Friday and then get the. You think like give them a month to look? Good enough? Okay.
But I'm looking at REST-free data, and for example, there are 50 repositories in India. So if we start adding all 50 repositories, it gets really a long list. So we need to think how we want to structure this information, because then we'll end up with 200 links on one page.
Yeah, right. Too many.
That's when you really need a search engine and a good metadata structure, basically.
Are you able to see my screen?
Yep.
I'm just wondering. So on the re3data.org, you can filter by countries. So if I zoom in, you can see that for China, there are 80 indexed countries. Yeah. And if we scroll down, we have Hong Kong, India, Indonesia, Japan, Korea, Laos. We have Philippines, Singapore, yeah, so on and so forth. Thailand, there's only one index here. We can take the opportunity to encourage people to have their research data repositories indexed here. Yeah.
Right.
There's some kind of curation process as well in order for a repository to be indexed here. So it does provide some assurance. So it's good to also encourage people to look at this as well. Yeah. So Vietnam, there is one indexed here. Yeah. But I don't see Malaysia here. Yeah.
And Suhaimi complained a lot. That's why. He's not coming. Yeah, okay.
So this is the one of the things we have to modify the page. And so which way you wanted to, realize? Just having a link to each individual country URL to the RIS3 data, or get the data from the API and then show in each our APAN page, which is better? So can you make sense the differences between the two?
How much do
Yeah,
we want
maybe it
to
could be
replicate?
some kind of visualization pointing to RIS3 data. Apologies, Markus, for jumping.
Yeah,
Which is more sustainable? Which way is more sustainable?
I think they're going to be, I mean, I don't know what the funding model is behind RIS3 data, but they're going to have people and resources, and they've got standards and they've got all that stuff behind it. So there's no point replicating that. So pointing people is a good thing. I'm just looking at the Australian list there, and it's a subset of what's available from Research Data Australia. So, we probably would reference two things about Australian repository collections. The inverse way I think of things, I put collections into repositories, but here we're putting repositories into collections. That's confusing me. But they do seem to have a nice API for their searching there. Well, filtering is a better approach.
Okay.
Like you can filter by how to access the data and where it's from without having to filter by country. It doesn't have a discipline.
Yeah, maybe they have.
There is a discipline filter as well.
I don't see a discipline field.
Subject.
Subject, sorry. Yep. Yeah, that's great. Quick technical question, I guess to Thailand and Japan in particular. Do you have a standardized list of disciplines?
From the viewpoint of maybe the one with the biggest funding agency will they have a list of the the structure of the domain subjects. So sometimes we refer to that to the categorized the research domain, but it's not the well. Sometimes they change periodically, and people would utilize it as the kind of the standard, but it's not the standard from the national level.
Okay.
Okay, for Thailand, not that I heard of.
Okay, because in Australia we standardized with New Zealand, I think some others, on what are called the standard fields of research, FOR, and it's a 6-digit number for every discipline that has activity in Australia. And they come in a hierarchy. So there's people talk about their 2-digit, 4-digit, and 6-digit field of research. And that means you can categorize things. So when you make a grant application, you will tick boxes with your fields of research, and it automatically gets classified. And all of the repositories also use the same fields of research as well.
Oh, really?
So that's quite useful, and well accepted by our research community.
And is that the link to some international the standards or something, NSF category or
I'm gonna have a look at that. I don't because I think they codes. Let me put that in the chat.
That's always problem, we don't have a category in the national level.
Yeah, but it's also an issue internationally. Putting a link to an effort that data site is trying to solve, and also some others
Never seen
to make
this.
data citation easier.
So those are the standards. There's actually 3 associated standards. I think there's also the SEO, socioeconomic objectives, and what was the other one? Types of activity. That's not so important. But the FOR, fields of research, is the major one.
And periodically modifying, updating the data.
Yep. But it never. It's pretty much backwards compatible.
Oh, really?
So the 6 fields give you what, 999,000 possible options. There are not that many disciplines. So the 2 digits have never changed. I don't think the 4 digits have ever changed. And it's usually the last 2 to make the 6 digits where they just add new things. So you'll find, maybe 10 or 15 of the 99 are used in each subdiscipline. And the last one, anytime it ends in a 99, is always the something else we haven't worked out how to classify yet category.
Yeah, it's well designed.
Yeah, and it's proven really, really useful. What's the one Iryna's shared there? Disciplinary metadata. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, but it doesn't exist yet.
Yeah.
There are discussions to build it.
From
what is currently available is not standardized.
For how long they are talking about it? More than 10 years.
Oh, easy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes happen. It's an endless metadata, like a metadata discussion.
Yeah, never ended. Never ended.
So that looks like the FOR would actually work to solve that problem or help to solve that problem. When we use DOIs and ORCIDs everywhere, so FORs are just another classifier.
And most of all funding agencies are referring to the numbers, and they try to categorize. Okay, that's so nice.
Yeah, I mean, in Australia, we really have 2 major funding bodies, the Australian Research Council and the National Health and Medical Research Council. They fund probably 90% of research grants. And they're the ones who care because they have to report. So they like structured information. Other funding sources, they might come from industry or partnerships or other things, and they don't care about metadata as much. But yeah, the government basically set out, look, let's just use this structure. It's been worked on for many years. I mean, it's what the latest edition there is 2020, I think I saw. And it's gone back. When does it say when it started? I think it started back in the 1990s or even earlier. No, 1998 was one of the updates. Yeah. So we've been using it for at least 25, 30 years.
Yeah, that's so nice.
Okay.
If you want an introduction, I can probably find the people at the Research Council who manage that. And we could just, I mean, if we ever need a classifier of disciplines, we could use that and then see what doesn't work. I'm just looking at the Re3 data thing, that it's really nice that you have that filtering on subject. So that kind of structure is really useful.
Okay, let's think about it.
Yeah.
And in this remaining 10 minutes, so I also like to talk about, as our next action. So maybe we talk a lot about the website. And the next one is how to proceed a real the activity in this working group, as I said to you before in the morning session. So there are 2 the scope on the way of thinking, and the one is, as an APAN is the community for NLEN. So I personally also like to talk about the infrastructure, how the NLEN can support the open science, kind of the open science, the data-centric research infrastructure. as an NLN. And at the same time, of course, APAN has earlier the working group. So we also focusing on to support a discipline, the research itself on top of the APAN network. So maybe we have to have two different scope as our activity, and then the satisfy that both to the direction. So and then in order to do that, maybe we have to no need to divide our community itself, but maybe the one of the way is to make a subgroup and talk about it, and or maybe make it more structure to how to proceed or how to get outside from the discussion. So I'd like to ask you two guys so how to proceed our activity from that the two different scope or the direction.
I think keep everything in the one group as much as possible, because we're not that big.
Okay.
I think it's how we engage with the community. So we talked mostly about the community. Sorry, we're talking to is the discipline, but it could also talk to the NRENs. So that page on the website could talk about infrastructure providers, service providers. But also when we went to identify people to join the working group, we went to the working group chairs and said, tell us something about your discipline. And we went to all of the members, the NRENs, and said to them, tell us something about your economy, what's happening in your local community. And the survey that the UNESCO colleagues did just recently with SOI had surveys. I encouraged them to make it 2 surveys because they were trying to have this huge 70-question survey. And I said, the NRENs are going to have very different questions to the institutions and researchers. And so they split that. We did an NREN survey separate, and that's the one that was reported on the mailing list of WCCE. And
so can we reuse that data from the questionnaire? Okay, that's one of the Q.
I mean the data was presented at the conference this week. I'm pretty sure I can get the raw data. I think there were only about 7 or 8 responses, and there were some repeats. Like I think Hong Kong replied 3 times to the survey. But it's a start. It's a model. And we talked about one of the things I was trying to do was to encourage the UNESCO survey to ask questions that we're interested in as well. And so, because we don't want survey fatigue, because we want to survey the members for so many different things. What kinds of information are we looking for, I guess, from the NRENs, or how are we looking to help them? That might be something we have to start planning out as well.
So maybe, that at the first, we have to look at the survey result, and then individually or, the locally, and we're going to have some, the TV conference after, that checking it out. And then maybe we will make a decision. So which area or which infrastructure or what kind of things we can focus on as an APAN, and also, that we can support.
Yeah, sounds good. I mean, every NREN and APAN is just so different.
Yeah, that's right.
In terms of what they do. So
yeah, but that we have a common, something like a network.
Yes.
So when we try to say we can have something about the common infrastructure for the open science, people that say each research domain is different, so there's nothing you can provide for us. But as we are using the Windows, the Windows system, Linux system, there are some kind of the common things we can utilize, or we can pick up as an NLN. So maybe after looking at the survey result, maybe we're gonna have some, I will, me or the Junichi or the Nagase-san will try to announce you to have a TV conference, and then we're gonna have a one appropriate day to talk about it.
Another idea could be a checklist for NRENs on how to implement UNESCO recommendation on open science, because we're already preparing such checklists for open access publishers and also for university management. And that all will be included in UNESCO Open Science Toolkit. As far as I know, there is nothing about NRENs yet. And maybe we could offer like an interface for NRENs to highlight some parts of UNESCO recommendations that are relevant for them, and maybe also include some good practice examples from the region. Like, for example, in Japan, there is a shared infrastructure.
That's so nice, we can, on the feedback from the APAN or Asia Pacific, to the UNESCO things, That's so nice.
So I can share with you these drafts that we have for publishers and for university management, because they all follow a little bit similar structure.
Okay, great.
And then maybe let's think how we can do something for NRENs.
Great.
Yeah.
There's also some work done. BD Ren got a project funded out of TAIN, Asia Connect, to do a survey of the NRENs and their needs and their activities and so on. That was presented about a year ago. So we should have a look at that as well. There might be some useful data.
What you said, BD Connect?
BD Ren, the Bangladesh NREN.
Okay, Bangladesh. Okay.
The project funded
TAIN?
For TAIN. Asia, so Asia Connect is the new name for TAIN program. But so there's some useful data there. And I think I was just thinking back about your point about commonality. Every NREN connects to resources, whether they run them themselves or they provide access, so like supercomputers, data storage, repositories.
That's right.
So if we can give them very precise questions, we might get more information. Because the Europeans did a wonderful compendium, which unfortunately stopped when Bert retired. But do you remember the Giant or Terrainer compendium?
Yeah, that was so useful, when I, tried to insist that necessarily to the ministry, the European country and all over the world, they are investing to the, the human resources on this kind of resources, but not in Japan. So that was so useful, but has already been finished? Not yet?
It stopped.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so they basically had to do it every year. We had a working group for a while that was a global NREN compendium. So we wanted to standardize and simplify. And then when Bert van Pinksteren, who ran it he was in the Netherlands, he retired. So what used to happen every year then suddenly became every second year. There was an obligation early on by the European Commission that Giant did this survey. That went away. And so all the member networks just went, no more homework, no more
Really?
And I was hoping, in fact, to try and get an Asia Connect project going to do an APAN compendium and automate a lot of it. A lot of the information you can just harvest electronically.
That's important.
Yeah, because I remember they asked the Asian NRENs to join the European compendium, and ARNet in Australia looked at it and it was like 80 questions long. And it would have taken them 2 days to fill out. And so they said, no, thank you. So yeah, simplifying is really important.
Yeah.
But
it's so important.
I agree. It was such a useful document each year. And that talked about services portfolios as well.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
It's totally, connect to that.
Yeah. The Jokeren from Bhutan is here. How to engage Ukraine. Do you have any idea that how do you would like to participate in our open and sharing in APAN?
So maybe if they compare the country or somewhere in a similar situation, I mean, economic situation, or, but they are has already been investing the good enough money for the future, their research environments, so that they stimulate their, the NLN activity. If currently they are not, looking at the open science something, or so maybe, so at the beginning, if they cannot join to this the survey or compendium, so that also a good, the input for them, if they try to compare the similar situation.
Yeah. What we try to do, we try to serve them as well.
We're running out of time.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Okay. So, okay, we will show it on Friday then.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
let the people know and give the comments. But I would say like maybe a month, then we will close it for the comments, something like that. Is it?
Yeah. And in addition to that, please also report back, after, this analyzing the UNESCO, and then the data was survey result.
Okay.
Well, we're gonna, make a decision to where to go.
Okay.
So we have another meeting.
Yeah.
Yep, that sounds good.
Sorry about that. Yeah.
Okay.
So
Okay.
good talk.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. And thank you so much for the note.
Thank you.
Good.
Thank you.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Save the chat. Bye.